Well, I'm recording now, so let me just say the date. It's January 16th, 2018. Welcome to the Life Binder meeting every single week, an epic meeting to change your life, change your mindset, to work on yourself. You know, you're the most important person. If you start with you, then everything that you do to build you up moves into your life, your family, your community, and I believe that it changes the world. So that's why we're here, right? So thanks for being on, and whether you're watching the replay or you're here live, thank you for being on. Today is awesome. Before we get into the topic for today, just a recap, we talked about accountability partners last week and how effective that would be to make sure that, you know, you're on track with your goals. You're on track with, you know, spending that time every morning in mindset, in using your life binder, using it as a tool for your daily rituals. And if an accountability partner is something that you need, let me know. Go inside the Facebook group, private message me, or comment in the message, because I want you to be able to opt into the accountability process. I don't want to force it upon you. I want you to say, yes, raise my hand. Yes, I want accountability. I think it's going to help me. And really, it's just going to be you and a partner that you'll shoot a text just once a day. Did you practice today? Did you do your life binder practice? Did you follow your daily routine? Just once a day, a text. And just that in and of itself is enough to let you know that somebody on the other end cares about you and that you're able to stay accountable to the process that is working on yourself. So that's what we got going on for the accountability system. Got to opt in, so make sure you do that. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna do a screen share. Take notes, grab a pen and paper. You can take some notes here. Let's see here. Always a little bit, okay. Figuring out the technical side of things. Here we go. Give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen. Can you see the screen? Awesome, we're good to go then. We're good to go. So let's get into this. Can you still see the screen? Give me a thumbs up because I enlarged it. I don't know if it, okay, great. So Life Binder Inner Tribe, weekly epic meetup. Show me your daily rituals. I'll show you your life. I believe that was Tony Robbins that said that. Every week we do a two-part. The first part is 10 to 15 minutes of a deep dive into whatever epic training we're doing this week. This can include mindset or a specific daily ritual, health habits. It could be a case study, how to succeed, trainings, that type of thing, and then a live Q&A. So that's when we open up the microphone for everybody to join in on the discussion. And then part two is the Life Binder Business and Visionary Weekly Meeting. So this is the people that are in the beta group. These are the people that can see the Life Binder becoming a business where they can facilitate other people. And this group here are people maybe that have their own businesses already, or companies that they work for, or nonprofit organizations that they can see aligning with this. Amy just joined up. Thanks for joining, Amy. Great to have you.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry I'm late. I'm so sorry I'm late. I was trying to figure out how to put this on my computer as opposed to my phone.
That's okay. If you can, I can hear you loud and clear, but if you can, join the video so I could see your beautiful face, Amy Hubbard.
Ooh.
And you guys that don't know Amy, Amy has trained with us online and in person. She was actually the winner of our 21-day detox that we did with Lisa Nichols, and she won the grand prize, right, Amy?
Yes, I did, and it was awesome. Hi. Can you see me now? Because you're all big across my screen now.
Oh, okay. I can't see you yet. Hey, Amy, how many pounds and inches did you lose in the 21-day detox? Do you remember?
12 pounds and over 8 inches all over.
Wow.
Over 8 inches. So yeah, that was awesome. That was epic.
And
I need to do it again. So yeah.
Yes, awesome. Yes, we'll be doing more this year.
Awesome.
So today's training, we're covering 3 ways to stop overthinking and feelings of overwhelm. And as it says here, overthinking is the biggest cause of unhappiness. That's a pretty bold statement, right? Overthinking is the biggest cause of unhappiness. And if you think about it, what is overthinking? It's that incessant mental chatter, that incessant mental noise that keeps going like a tape loop over and over and over again, and causes us a lot of pain, because then we start to we think so much that we overanalyze and we become paralyzed in our lives. We stop moving forward, we stop gaining traction, we halt our momentum, all due to overthinking. Overthinking can actually create a lot of turbulence in relationships too. Relationships can actually be a lot easier and a lot more fun if we didn't overthink. I was reading an article today about this couple, and they're having a dialogue, but then it's also showing that they're thinking in the back of their mind. They're trying to figure the other person out, and by just overthinking way too much, they miss the simplicity of the beauty of the moment that they had together. Just think if you can just be with someone in your full presence, giving people full love, gratitude, giving them the full you without overthinking something, right? And so we're going to get into all this stuff. This is really cool stuff, and it's a passion of mine. So if you can see this here, the vicious cycle of overthinking, right? It starts with overthinking. You're thinking and overthinking, and it's just, it's running like a tape loop, right? Which leads to feelings of overwhelm, right? When you feel overwhelmed, let's hear from somebody who trains other people worldwide. Kristen, you yourself have felt the feeling of overwhelm, but you also train people that are overwhelmed. What has been like going all over the world and training people in that to be able to get more clear on what they're going for, gain more clarity, and to reduce overwhelm? What has been your experience of people in general with overwhelm?
With overwhelm, at least in our industry, I find that people need things broken down in simple terms. So like bullet points and very tangible goals and action items so that they know how to step forward and get out of that tape loop in their head.
I love that. Yes. Very simple, right? If you can get the simple, that's the anti-overthinking, right? It's simplicity.
Yep.
If you can create simplicity and actionable items, small things, then that reduces overwhelm. But when you have overwhelm, those employees are probably stressed out, right, Kristen?
Yeah, super stressed out. And that's typically when we see, if we can't get them out of that overwhelmed thought process, that's typically when we see turnover, which is exactly what we try to avoid. So
seriously, right? People lose their jobs.
Yeah, they get frustrated, and then they feel like that they can't be successful. So I actually had the same conversation on a conference call earlier today. So
wow. Yes. So think about it. Overthinking leads to feelings of overwhelm. Then it goes into self-doubt, right? If you're doubting yourself, are you going to be any better at the things that you want to do in your life? No, you're gonna withdraw your best you, right? You're gonna shrink in the world instead of expand and lean into the world, right? So self-doubt starts to happen. And then when you're self-doubting, you're going to start to procrastinate. You're going to push it off for later. You're not really feeling clarity. You're not feeling, an understanding, like Kristen said, that there's an action item to take hold of. And so then it leads to self-sabotage, which is what happened to those people. The turnover that Kristen was talking about in their job, they lost their job, they self-sabotage. It could be self-sabotage on a relationship. It could be self-sabotage on that book that you're trying to write, that business that you're trying to grow. It could be self-sabotage on whatever it is, right? And then the sad thing that can occur over time is it can lead to an identity of failure. You start to identify yourself as a failure in certain things. Oh, I'm not good at that. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't, create that. And that is the sad thing, and it leads to a vicious cycle. So here's what I want you to try right now. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you not to think of a purple elephant, right? We're just going to try it for 10 minutes. Go ahead and close your eyes. I can see you on the camera. Are your eyes closed? Yes, close your eyes. And I want you to really think or not think of a purple elephant with your eyes closed. I'm going to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So you didn't think of a purple elephant the whole time, right? It's hard to do. It's really hard to do. That's the power of the mind, right? You can't just tell it to stop thinking of something. It doesn't really work that way. You can't just tell your mind, hey, mind, stop overthinking, right? If it was that easy, then, it's like telling somebody that's depressed, hey, just be happy, right? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, is to tell somebody that's depressed, just be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes people can go inside of themselves and make a decision and decide, but more often than not, there's a layering process that has to occur. And so, like with the purple elephant, it's hard just to stop the thinking of it. I love this Charlie Brown right here. Sometimes you lie in bed at night and you don't have a single thing to worry about. That always worries me. So he's worrying about not even worrying, right? This is how the mind can work. It can take you down this spiral, this vortex. Identity, the ego, it's who you think you are, but it's not the real you. The mental image of self, it's an illusion, right? In this case, this woman's identity, you could see the writings on the wall: not pretty enough, not talented enough, not smart enough, not good enough. So she's created that type of identity. If you want to create the identity of who you really are, you have to shed your ego, not boost a false ego of just pretending that you're smart enough or good enough, because your mind knows the difference, your subconscious mind. You have to not just affirm it and say it and visualize it, but you have to live it and create action from it. And then your subconscious mind goes, I took the action. It happened in the real world, and it's all flowing into building of myself, my true self, without the idea of the self. So it's kind of a complicated topic, and we're not going to go fully into the ego today, but it's not who you really are. It's the image, the self-image of who you are. It took me more than 12 years of overthinking to write my book, right? More than 12 years of overthinking to write my book. What does that mean? It means that I got into my own head about why I couldn't do it. I've been wanting to write the book for over 12 years. Why was I finally able to do it? I stopped the overthinking process. I pattern interrupted it, and I just started taking actions. And really, it was a decision. I had to really go into my spirit, deep inside myself, and just say, I want to get this out into the world. I'm not going to be a perfectionist any longer. I'm not going to wait till the perfect moment, the perfect time, because that, my friends, is a falsehood. It's an illusion. If you're waiting to some far off day, that far off day will always be a far off day. The time is today. Take the things in your life that are your dreams and start living them now. And that can sound a little bit cliche sometimes. It's like, okay, what is the life of my dreams? That's some like far off island, right? And someday I'll, take that vacation. Someday I'll create that business. Someday I'll write that book. But really, how do you want to live today? And I really challenge you to start living your ideal life, your ideal emotional state today, right now, not even waiting, not even buying into that one day far off. You don't have to have perfection to be able to do this. It's actually very obtainable, and we're going to get into it today. Vincent van Gogh said, if you hear a voice within you say, you cannot paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced, right? And that was the process that I went with the book. That voice that said, I can't write a book. There's too many complicated steps. There's too many things I need to know. There's too much research I have to do. There's too much help that I need to get it out into Amazon. I don't know how to upload that up onto Amazon and create a create space account and then get people to actually read the book. I don't know how to do all that. I stopped the storytelling and I just started taking action. And look, I have a book. So, it's definitely possible. How do I know if I'm overthinking? And just some questions to bring to your awareness. Do you spend time in your day that you're aware of when you're completely in the present moment without any thought? Okay. Maybe taking a walk in nature, or meditating, or yoga, or exercising with body awareness. Just think about that for a second. Number 2, do you procrastinate and feel agitated by projects or to-dos that you've been putting off? Yes or no? If you've been feeling a lot of agitation and worry, then that's a sign that you're overthinking. Number 3, do you feel stuck or do you feel lack of forward momentum in your life? If you do, that's a sign of overthinking. Number 4, do you jump to conclusions in your relationships and mistakenly create problems when you go and look back, you realize it wasn't really necessary to go through the pain and agitation that you were feeling and projecting onto the other person. So if that's something that you're doing, you may be overthinking. Number 5, do you self-sabotage your goals and desires when it comes to things like finance, fitness, relationship, etc.? If so, overthinking is probably the problem, the culprit. And number 6, do you find yourself tuning in and entering the present moment with things like yoga, meditation, exercising with body awareness, like I said, walks in nature, or mindfulness in everyday activities? Or do you find yourself tuning out like most of our society is doing, right? With drugs, TV, alcohol, exercise that doesn't pay attention to the body, overworking, over Facebooking, or social media. So here's the difference between the two, right? If you're overthinking, you're spinning your wheels, often for nothing. You've got more worry and anxiety. Your thoughts release hormones in your body that stress you out. You can go into a state of dis-ease. Put those two words together, right? Disease. You can actually create disease and sickness. 9 out of every 11 people in the hospital right now are there due to a stress-related illness. So it can create that type of thing. You overanalyze and freeze up, or you live in your head too much. You're not taking action. You have maybe a cycle of self-doubt, procrastination, self-sabotage. You make up stories or feed stories that don't serve you in your life. They don't serve you. You come to conclusions and you stop seeking answers. You let others decide for you, and you become dependent on other people to think for you. You never get to write that book, start that business, like Amy just got her degree. Great job, Amy. You know, that's an example of not overthinking and actually taking action and manifesting in your life. So well done. And then what the sad thing is, you can relax into living in mediocrity, right? Living that's not up to your potential in life. Living to survive instead of really living. Whereas if you stop overthinking, you're entering presence, right? Presence, you're entering awareness. So you feel in flow with life most of the time in that state. You become decisive and you waste less time. You learn to prioritize your time. You feel more energetic and inspired. Life is epic and adventurous. And boredom actually ceases to exist. It doesn't even exist for you anymore. It's impossible to be bored in this state. You can take actions that improve your relationships through quality time, giving gifts of the heart, engaging deeply, forgiveness. You get mega productive with tasks and projects, and you feel your life moving forward. You feel in the flow with life. So here's a question. If overthinking is so bad, why do we overthink? Eckhart Tolle says one of the greatest addictions that we never read about in the newspaper is thinking, right? We humans just can't stop thinking. So Eckhart Tolle, he says, and I highly recommend his book, The Power of Now. If you have, the audiobook is incredible too. Says here, accept, then act. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. This will miraculously transform your whole life. There's a guy that wrote The Miracle Morning. His name was Hal Elrod. He was in a head-on collision. He broke his hip in 3 places. His femur bone went through his thigh, piercing him. His shoulder and elbow were shattered. He couldn't use his hand, and he was a Cutco knife salesman, right? And he had a punctured lung, all of that. And this guy totally was so positive because he accepted. The doctors thought he was crazy, but he accepted what had happened, and he just lived moving toward the future that he wanted to create. So that's the power of acceptance, right? So what are the 3 ways to stop overthinking and feelings of overwhelm? Number 1, these are methods that you can use, right? These are methods that you can use. And if you do this, I promise there's going to be a huge shift in your life right away. So number one is put everything down on paper. Okay? A brain dump. A brain dump. You just need to brain dump everything. Put everything down on paper. Just sit down and write down everything you need to do. Dump out everything that's been in your mind, all your worries, your anxieties, the triggers and pain points that have been bothering you, all your goals and dreams and intentions, all your tasks, your projects, and your to-dos, everything. Put it all on paper. This will immediately clear your mental energy because you've released it. You released it and you put it on paper. So don't overthink this. LOL. Just freaking do it. Okay? Yes.
Forrest, I was going to say something really quick. That's awesome. That's one of my favorite things that I teach when I teach time management at work is I teach people to brain dump because they hold everything in. And I'm like, I can't teach anybody how to manage your time if it's all stuck up in your head and how to keep things organized until you get it all out. So
That's
step one.
Yeah, you can't work with it until you get it out, right? So, that's the thing, you know, and if that's so cool to hear that, Kristen, because at the high level that you guys are operating at, to hear that we're in sync, that's exciting for me. The next one, here, having a little technical difficulty. Oh, here we go. What am I doing here? It's not switching. Give me 1 second. Okay. Next one, number 2, divide and conquer. Okay, divide and conquer. So you want to start to understand that you have this list of things that you got to do in your life that you want to get done, that you want to, you know, live however you want to live and get done the things that you need to get done. But you don't need to do it all yourself, right? And that's the misconception, is that we have to do everything. No, you don't. This is a hard one for a lot of people. Business people get it, right? Business people live by this. Most people have a hard time accepting this one. I know I did when I first started to understand it. Okay. One of my mentors, his name is Bedros Keuilian. He's like the guru of all fitness gurus. This was the first thing he taught me, was to divide and conquer, similar to this. Okay. So take a piece of paper, make 2 columns. On one side, you write, 20% me. This is the things that 20% me. On the other side, the right side, write 80% someone else. For the 20% me, write down everything only you can do. It can't be done by anyone else but you. And only write down the things that you enjoy doing, right? That you enjoy doing. The things that you don't enjoy doing, put them in the other column. So on everything else, you write it in the someone else side, and those are the things you delegate. For example, unless you really enjoy doing it, delegate the house cleaning to someone else, your kids maybe, or trade a friend house cleaning for something he or she needs that you enjoy doing. Maybe you love meal prep. Maybe you love cooking and prepping meals, but your friend really needs that help and they're not good at it. What about, and maybe they love cleaning houses. So get into a discussion with your friend and make a trade. Hey, I'll help you with the meal prep if you help clean my house. So now you're doing something that you enjoy, you're staying in your lane, and they are doing something that you don't enjoy, which is cleaning of the house. Or pay somebody to do it, right? It might sound ridiculous at first, but think about all the time, energy, and money you'll actually save by paying someone to do it. In the time that you'll save, you can put it into things that create life energy for you, more income for you, or you can spend quality time for yourself, your family, your friends, instead of clogging up your life energy. Now, once you've listed and you divided and conquered, now put all the action items into a planner, and each night before you go to bed, do what's called a prescript. Prescript your next day. How do you want your next day to look and feel? It's a quick, 5 to 10 minute exercise, but it can make all the difference because your subconscious mind going to sleep at night, you can really start to, it's like your subconscious creates a roadmap for your next day, right? And so pre-scripting your next day with a victory list of the things that you want to get done, and then, of course, get into action. You have to get into action. Stop overthinking, just act. And then number 3, and this is perhaps the most powerful one in terms of the way it can shift you into an entirely different state of living. Like literally shift you into an entirely different operational state of how you operate in your day-to-day life, which is practice presence. Okay, practice presence. So spend at least 10 minutes each day in silent presence, aka meditation, also known as meditation. When you meditate, don't try to conquer your thoughts or get rid of them. It's like the purple elephant, right? It's not going to happen. Instead, focus on an anchor. Whenever you notice yourself trailing into thought, you start thinking about all the things you got to do and all the things that overthinking, just come back to your anchor. You're training your mind to enter the present moment, to get out of the past, to stop trailing into the future, right? Oftentimes we regret the past and we worry and have anxiety about the future. If we're in the present, that's when joy can emerge in your life. Okay, we resist the present moment because we think we have to get to some future date until we can start enjoying the present. Doesn't that sound insane? So practicing presence, as it becomes a practice, as you integrate this into your life, it will change everything. So use an anchor. That's what you focus on. So for example, your breath. Right now, while you're listening to me speak, go ahead and feel your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, as you're listening to me speak, between now and now, did you have any thoughts? Try that again. Between now and now, were you thinking or were you just present? Do you see how I'm pausing right now between my words? Do you see how I'm creating a space for presence? Use your ears right now. Use your eyes right now. Without judging, without analyzing. Open up. That's the present moment. Does that make sense? You can access it at any time. But with a practice of meditation, you will, like an athlete, you will gain strength in your ability to live in the present moment. It's a very powerful place to be. Very powerful place to be. There's lots of benefits. We'll go over the benefits of meditation on a future training. So sit and be, right? You are a human being, not a human doing. Sit and be. When you become aware of thought, gently become or come back to the anchor. Don't beat yourself up and saying, I'm not doing this right, or I don't know if I'm doing it right. And you start to become aware of a thought chain, like a train going by or a cloud going by in the sky. And you recognize it. Oh, I'm thinking about X. Let me come back to the anchor, my breathing. Or a candle flame. Let me light a candle flame and just focus on the candle flame. Right? Set a timer, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you can do. And then that's it. That's the practice of being in the present moment. What you'll find is it starts to leak into everything that you do in your life, and it'll open you up into the true joy of life. It's like a whole different world. So, but don't take my word for it. You got to practice it, right? So by doing these three simple things, the brain dump, divide and conquer, and practicing presence, you will notice a profound shift in your life immediately. So start easy. Just do the brain dump. Create movement, right? Step number 1, don't procrastinate. Just grab a piece of paper, do the brain dump. Brain dump your precious little heart out. Okay? Step number 2, go ahead, divide and conquer. Your fears about delegating, that's an illusion. Okay? There are people all over the world who delegate. Some have businesses, some don't. Some have money, some don't. Just do it. Number 3, when you sit with your life binder each morning, use that time to take 10 minutes to practice presence. And as you meditate with consistency, you'll notice you overthink less and less. Number 4, remember, overthinking is an addiction. Your thoughts are not you. And in fact, with overthinking, they are controlling you. If you want to take the power back in your life, stop overthinking with the 3-step method I just showed you right away. Don't forget, you are worth it. So in the Life Binder, we introduced the 4 pillars, which I'm actually contemplating shifting out of the pillar and going into the 4 roots, because I'm getting an image in my visualization of 4 roots and then a tree of life coming out of it, right? And so I might redo this, but right now it's pillars: meditation, visualization, affirmation, and strategy of implementation. So practicing presence is the first pillar, meditation. In conclusion, remember this: overthinking feels like it's normal. It truly does seem normal, but it's not. It leads to major suffering in life. So stop overthinking today, start living today. Thank you guys so very much for your time. I'm so grateful for you. I hope you got a lot out of it. We're going to open up the line, and I want to hear from you guys. What was your takeaway? So I'm going to stop the screen share here. And we got Brittany. Brittany came on. All right. Awesome. Peace. All right. Let's hear from you guys. What was your takeaway? Starting with Jessica, because you were the first one on today. Jessica, what was your takeaway?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
The practicing presence, which whenever I think of meditation, I always think being in nature or hiking, but I like how you broke it down where it's just wherever you're at, like working in the office or, in the gym or whatever I'm doing, like anybody can apply it. Just if you feel overwhelmed or there's a lot of stuff going on or you have stress, just kind of pause for 5 minutes and it makes a difference. Like right now, that made a difference of just stop thinking of anything else. So I really like that. Just practicing presence.
Very cool. Very cool. And you can actually take it even further. There's more techniques that we can add on. But if you just did those 3 things, you'll notice a huge difference. And like number 3, practicing presence, that's the game changer. You're right on. So thank you, Jessica. We can do the snap thing. You guys like to do the snap. Let's hear from Kristen. Kristen, what is your takeaway or feedback?
So a couple of things. So I love that you mentioned the brain dump, because that is one of my favorite go-to things. And I practice it myself too, because about my line of work and how much I travel. And it's easy for me to get roped into overwhelm if I don't get all this mess out of my head and get it on my calendar, or, like you said, delegated, which is also something that we teach.
Yeah.
So I dig that. And you practice something that I also teach when we teach, presenting with confidence. You use the power of the pause, which creates presence. So that's what we teach, instead of using things like filler words or whatever, where people say and like and things like that a lot. I tend to pause a lot when I present to give people a minute to digest what I'm talking about. So that, and I do it a lot, even just when I'm like working on my own, just to make sure that I'm staying present. And obviously, that I teach in front of large groups a lot. So I have to be present. Otherwise I freak out and, realize that I'm talking to 300 people. And so it helps me very much to stay in the flow, of all of that, to just breathe and keep my pace of speaking under control. Because I still get flustered every once in a while in front of large groups. I mean, it takes practice. It's taken me years.
You're getting in front of like hundreds of top level working professionals that are all eyes on you, right? So thank you, Kristen, because I think there's some other people that are also speakers that are listening in right now that are gaining a lot from that. Because it wasn't until I was able to stand in front of a group and just literally stand on stage in front of hundreds of people and just pause and I would literally just stand there. Awkward
it's super awkward. We call it marinating in the tension at work, but it's super awkward until you get comfortable with it.
When you get comfortable, you love it. Like you crave it. It feels so good to like stand in front and just like don't say a thing. Just like and then
stand there.
You just feel it, and then it brings the power back to you, because before
Yeah,
you thought you had to just keep on going and keep on and so
Yep.
the presence of the moment with people in that
Yeah.
setting is amazing. Yeah.
That power of that uncomfortable pause is actually a very powerful negotiation tool as well.
True. Yeah, for sales or if you're buying a car.
Yeah. No, I was just going to make one more comment. Like this call was right on time today because I was on a conference call. I just flew back from Phoenix earlier, so I was hustling to get home so I could get on this call.
Yeah.
But I was on a conference call at the airport with one of the VPs for my company that wants to do a session in March about, using Microsoft OneNote. And I'm like, okay, well, we can do that, but let's back it up a second. Like, what are the reasons why you want to use OneNote? And he's like, well, my team wants to get more organized. And I'm like, okay, well, let's keep stepping backwards into that. Why do you feel like they're not organized? Is it a time management thing? Is it a priority thing? So once we started digging into that, he's like, I think it's kind of all of the above. Can you present on that? And I'm like, okay, I wanted to make sure we were getting to the root of the issue, because I'm like, I typically don't get phone calls like that where people just want me to teach, well, how to use a program,
Right.
There's typically,
they're overthinking.
Yeah. They are. There's always more to it than that. So it was interesting because the VP who I was talking to was actually one of my best friend's husbands, and he's like, "Yeah, we need your help." So it was this call tonight totally piggybacked onto the conversation I had before I flew home earlier. So
yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised at the opportunities that start to open up when you become more present as well, and when you're not trying to force an issue, but you can really listen to people. And something happened incredible today. I shook somebody's hand to start. They're going to do a grant writing process, and they're going to pay our company to come in and help with homeless people with health and wellness. And this will start as a local campaign, but this can go nationwide. And it's a huge thing. And that all happened. Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, isn't that cool? And that all happened just by presence with people like that, and with the right intentions, right? So you never know how things are going to unfold. Just, it's pretty crazy. Let's hear from Amy. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you so much. Let's hear from Amy. What is your Amy?
That was awesome. For starters, I like that power of the pause thing she just said. That's cool. You know why? Because I'm always overthinking. And so what I've really been working on is being a better listener. And so one of those things is also calming my mind, just being quiet.
Yeah.
And that's difficult for me because I talk too much. So, but I'm grateful that I was invited. This is so cool. I liked just the steps to getting out of the overthinking, just the writing it down, the meditating, just the steps that you just displayed. So I see where these benefit me already. So I'm kind of excited about getting started with just doing this week.
Excellent. Great to hear. Thank you, Amy. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I'm a procrastinator too. Because this is really funny though, if I be honest. I was like, well, you don't want to put it on your computer because then they'll see your dirty house. And so procrastinating about cleaning up, just doing some shredding. I have 2 shredders, and it's like, why aren't you getting busy with shredding? You have the stuff. So just little, personal things I need to do that are not difficult. I can't delegate it to somebody else because I don't want them shredding the wrong stuff. So, just starting with myself,
right.
and that's where it is. It starts with me, and then I can help others, or then I can show others of what to do. Even if I just organize my junk, then I can delegate somebody else to finish it off for me. But just getting started,
and it feels so good to organize the junk. Clean out the closets, organize the junk drawers, clean your car. Clean your desk. Everything starts to have more energetically. It cleans the energy of the room.
The feng shui thing going on.
There's a really good book I read on that. It's called the Power of Decluttering or something like that. I'll have to look up the title, but there is some power behind doing that, and it's a super easy read. But because I've been on a mission to do that too since the new year started. I was like, clean everything, wash the car, clean out my closets, donate to Goodwill. Like it's, I feel you.
That's where you can delegate that stuff too.
Exactly. Because I have a teenager.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hear from Brittany. What was your takeaway? I'm not sure when you jumped onto the call, but let's hear from Brittany.
Yeah, I jumped on a little late, so I don't really have such a takeaway.
Overthinking. What is your thoughts when you hear the word overthinking or feeling?
My life. Yeah. Overthinking is a really big issue for me, mostly because a lot of times I get stuck in this realm where I'm like, okay, wait, is this my intuition or am I overthinking? And so oftentimes when it gets to that point, I like try to like reach out for someone to help me like basically decide. But ultimately, like I want to get to a point where I'm not always overthinking and I'm able to make decisions myself, but I often find myself in that, like stuck in that I overthink a lot.
Yeah.
So,
And you know, the best of the best get counsel, right? So, you know, there's no problem in, you know, finding counsel, mentors and coaches, but then you go inside to make the decision to move forward.
Right.
And so, and that is sometimes just going into a silent space within yourself. What I had learned from one of my coaches and mentors that really helped me when making a major life decision and even minor things I use it for now too, is get into a meditative state, a state where you're in a silent presence, and then you focus on whatever action. And if you feel a constriction, like a tightness in your chest, or like it just feels like it weighs you down, it's heavy, that might not be the best direction for you to go. And then ultimately, if it feels light, if it feels fluid, if it feels expansive, then that could be that indication that your intuition is saying go that way, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, you know, like I've been talking to you about this too, about how I'm kind of trying to instill these practices in my life that help me to maintain the state of flow. And I do notice that when I am present, I just feel much better in my life. And so like that also helps me to not overthink when I get to those points. So yeah, like you guys were talking about, like being present is really helpful. I've noticed for me and my overthinking issues. But also like, because I have perfectionism problems too. And I think that has a lot to do with overthinking.
Any other perfectionists on the line right now? Awesome. Thank you so much, Brittany. And talk about feng shui. Look at her background. It looks so amazing, you know. Who did the artwork on your wall?
Oh, it's Vlad. It's all Vlad.
I thought so. That is so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So,
I'll let him know.
So yeah, for everyone that is wanting to, we're going to conclude this section. For everybody that's on for the beta program, which that's the part where we talk about using the Life Binder as a business, either starting a business of your own, or incorporating it into an existing business. That's what we're going to talk about next. So if you are on for that, we're going to get right in. I have another slide to show you. And this one will only take about 15 minutes today. So if you have about 15 minutes, then we're right on time. So let me hit the screen share. And let me see here. Okay. There it is. So go ahead and let me know if you can see the screen with a thumbs up. Okay, cool. So this right here is just an overview, really. It's not too deep of a dive, but it's just an overview. How to create a stunning and spectacular website and blog, absolutely free, so you can express your interests, give value, gain community and clients, and generate income all in just 4 hours or less, right? Would you like to know how to do that?